Joyce, let me start with you. I read a lot of legal terminology, but there is this talk of a writ, there is talk of jeopardy, and there is this discussion by Jack Smith to say, please make whatever decision you're going to make now, because if you don't do it now, we have a problem. What did he mean?
Right. So here's the problem that happens with Aileen Cannon's refusal to issue a ruling on Trump's motion to dismiss under the Presidential Records Act. The reason Jack Smith says he's entitled to a decision now is that if she rules against him, he can appeal that in advance. He can go to the 11th Circuit and ask them to second guess. And the reality here is that virtually every legal expert who's not in the Trump camp who's looked at this issue says the Presidential Records Act has nothing to do with whether or not someone is illegally in possession of classified national defense information. So it seems pretty clear that the judge is in error territory. She's trying to delay ruling on that motion until after the trial starts. And here's why that matters. Once the jury is sworn in, double jeopardy attaches. And if she dismisses the case in Trump's favor after double jeopardy attaches, Jack Smith can't appeal her. He can't retry the case because the government can only try a defendant one time on a set of charges. And so what she's essentially trying to do here is to protect Trump, to insulate him behind a decision that she would make after the jury was impaneled when the government couldn't try him again, and defeating the government's right to appeal. Jack Smith has finally decided to get tough, and he said, look, the clock is ticking here. He hasn't told her how much time she has, but he said, I need my ruling before we go to trial, and if I don't get it, I'll mandamus you and ask the court to order you to rule correctly.
Which has not gone her way a couple of times in the past. Neil, part of the problem, and there are two issues here. One is the argument that Jack Smith makes about the Presidential Records Act. But the other one is this idea that the judge seems to be considering giving the jury an instruction that would be counter to the law. It's just the instruction that she's considering about a president can do X, Y, and Z is not actually how the law is written. It's not a vague law about the Presidential Records Act.
That's exactly right, Ali. And so what Smith did is take both of your points and basically say, in legal terms, a whole bunch of stuff. But it boils down to, look, Judge Cannon, we've had enough already. And basically saying to her, you're getting this totally wrong and you're delaying things and you're risking a double jeopardy acquittal. And so they used some very stern language and warned her, as Joyce says, that we are going to mandamus you, which means to say you were so clearly wrong, we're going to take this to an immediate appeal to the 11th Circuit and possibly even seek your removal as a judge in this case. Now, when I ran the Solicitor General's office, which is the office that controls all federal appeals, I had prosecutors from across the country that would come to me and ask for that and say, look, this judge is totally out of line. We have to file this piece of paper, this mandamus and the like. And almost always we would say no. The typical thing in the Justice Department is be patient, let the system play out. But when you have a judge who's repeatedly erred the way this judge has, enough is enough. And in those rare circumstances, and it sure looks like this is one, that's when you seek mandamus and you possibly even seek the removal of a judge. That is something you do only as a very last resort. But unfortunately, Ali, we are at that stage. And so Smith's filing says, look, kids' gloves are off now. We've been as patient as we possibly can with you, Judge, but this is it.
Hey everyone, MSNBC has a new and improved app. You'll get real-time alerts and analysis, live blogs, in-depth essays, video highlights, and the best 2024 election coverage. Download the new MSNBC app. Here's how to do it. You tap on the App Store on your phone. You hit search on the bottom right corner. You type in MSNBC. You click on the MSNBC app. You click on Get or the cloud icon and enjoy it.